All right, so 12,000 miles in and it finally happened. We got our first windshield crack, which I'm not sure how well you can actually see it in the camera there, but we're gonna be using this Permatex windshield repair kit. Got this from Autozone after tax. I think it was $20 even. We'll be kind of showing you how to DIY this instead of going to a place like Safelite and spending a whole bunch of money. So there's a couple things this kit comes with. First is gonna be this plunger. You're gonna have a adhesive strip that's gonna go around the actual opening. We're gonna have a little piece of glass here that we'll save till the end. You're also gonna have a stand that the plunger is gonna go into, an alcohol pad, a razor blade, and your actual resin here. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take this little push pin and you're just gonna make sure that there's no, like probably can't see it on the camera, there's a little piece of glass kind of coming out. You wanna make sure that you get any loose glass out of that chip and out of that crack. And if there's any debris left in it, you're just gonna make sure that you clean all of that debris out before starting it. Something I didn't mention too is this is pulled halfway into my garage. Make sure the initial part of this you are doing in the shade and not in direct sunlight. So once you're able to kind of clean out the entirety of that chip with this, you're then gonna take your alcohol prep pad and just do a quick wipe down of the area and make sure that there's a nice clean surface for that pad to adhere to. I would wait until all of this alcohol kind of evaporates off. So I'm gonna take a break here, let that evaporate off, and then I'll be right back. All right, so once that alcohol is dried off, we're gonna grab this little ring here. We're gonna first peel the adhesive off the back here, and we're going to place this over the center of our crack, getting as centered as humanly possible there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the back of our razor blade, and you're just gonna push out any air pockets that might be between the windshield and this little adhesive that you put down. This is gonna be really, really important to stop some of that adhesive from leaking out from underneath here. I've also placed a couple rags that you can kind of see on camera there at the bottom, because this will mess up, the resin will mess up your paint if it does happen to drip all the way down there. So once we kind of got some of the air bubbles out there, we're just gonna pull this top part of the adhesive off. And there we go. We're then gonna take our plunger base and we're gonna make sure that we line that up nicely to the center there. Once that's lined up, you're just gonna push that into the adhesive. You're going to take your resin and very carefully, about a quarter of the way down, you're just gonna cut this tip off. I'm not gonna do it over top of the car. And then you're gonna want to apply about 3/4 of the tube into here. You wanna save about 1/4 of the tube for a little bit later on. So get about 3/4 of that resin nicely in that tube. If you can squirt it in about 1/4 of the way, really get it down in there. My hand's shaking so much there. Oops. Got a little bit out the top, but okay. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna place the cap on that tube and clean that up real quick. And then we're gonna take this plunger and we're gonna get the plunger as deep down inside of here as we possibly can. And then we're gonna slowly pull the back of the plunger. Once we got a nice firm fit, we're gonna suction this out all the way to that bottom, and you might have to twist it to make sure that you can get it around the spring onto that bottom pin there, and then we're gonna have that spring hold it in place. We're gonna leave this here for about 10 minutes and then we'll be right back. All right, now that it's been about 10 minutes and that vacuum's pulled all the air out of the crack, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly, without moving this, remove the plunger. You might have to twist a little bit to get it out, and you're gonna see all that air gets pushed in. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace the plunger as tightly as we can. We're gonna twist this away from the spring, and we're gonna push down to that next spot there, and that's going to push air in and make sure we fill that. We're then going to leave this for about 20 minutes. So I'll be back after 20 minutes. All right, so now that it's been 20 minutes, we're going to go ahead and once again remove our plunger. Put that off to the side. We're going to then start removing this. We're going to take our razor blade and just very gently kind of work around the exterior adhesive. Pop that off there until we can pull this off. And then in the last step, we're going to work some more of this adhesive off, but anything you can get off now without getting too much out of that hole we just made there. So without getting too much of this razor in the scratch, because we're not fully cured yet, we're going to get some of this adhesive off. And then we're going to take our remaining resin, and we're going to take this little plastic square. We're going to drop a drop into the center of that. I've got a little on the side, so I'm going to drop some there. And then we're going to take this and press it firmly on the center. And then we want to use the back of our razor, and once again, just work out any kind of air bubbles. Oop, it slides pretty easily there, so just be careful. Push on one side. We just want to work this in and work out any air bubbles. If there is excess, just take your rag and wipe off any of that excess there. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to back the truck and put it in the sun. It takes about 15 minutes to cure in sunlight. So we'll go ahead and back the truck out here, put it directly in the sun, leave it for 15 minutes, and then we'll go over the final step from there. All right, now that I've had some time to sit out here and cure, the last thing we're going to do is just peel this off here. Any additional residue, we're just going to take our razor and just kind of push this off to clean up here. You can see how well, now that it's hard, you can see that it's cleared, or cured, not cleared, it is clear. We're just going to work our razor blade over top. And we're just going to want to work this off until we get the windshield nice and smooth. It actually does a really good job of even making it look like there's not a crack there anymore. Like honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell. If you can see a little bit of your crack, not a big deal. It's still fixed so that it won't spread, so that you won't have to actually go out and get a new windshield. But we're just going to make this nice and flat. And then once you get that nice and flat, I'm going to work it a little bit, but you don't have to bore you guys with it. Just take your cloth and just kind of wipe off the excess. I don't know how well you can actually see it on camera, but there is still some raised portion, so I'm still going to take this razor and just work that off. But once you work all that off, you're done and you have a perfectly repaired crack.